So today I bring my two worlds together. My previous life as a lawyer focused on social media for content creators, and my more recent life where I'm helping people understand the various different lawsuits filed against the Trump administration. And they collide because there is a crucial update related to the TikTok. This is for you if you are a creator who does policy and politics from the left, or if you are an audience member who loves content like my own. This shift is going to be pretty seismic. So here's the update for you. A little bit of a background if you're new to this. In 2020, when Donald Trump was first president, he attempted to ban TikTok. It was owned by a company named ByteDance that's Chinese. And at the time, national security was the concern. And TikTok had a very dominant presence, and a lot of users, including a lot of young people, were using the platform. So that was a concern. When Donald Trump launched his effort to ban TikTok, the app immediately sued. Now, what happened didn't go far because there was a shift in administration. Joe Biden took a different approach. He decided to leave it up to the experts. There is an interagency group called the Council of Foreign Investments in the United States. And what that group does, and it's done in the past and consistently, is it explores when there are foreign investors and assets in the United States that may impact our national security. That group was well underway doing its work when around 2022, 2023, there became leaks and information that the Chinese government was tracking Chinese journalists using TikTok. Because of that concern, immediately a lot of the state governments decided to ban TikTok's use on their state devices. The government subsequently also banned use of the TikTok on government devices, as did the military. There was a bipartisan effort to actually require that the owner of TikTok, ByteDance, divest its interests so that it is not Chinese owned. The reason why that is a concern, flagged that China was spying on its own journalists, and if it could spy on its own journalists, it could spy on us. And in China, all companies have to have approval from the Chinese government in order to sell their assets if it includes data. That was a relatively new law that they passed in China. And since the algorithm is what's the most valuable thing about TikTok, you think about it, it's very addictive. It's more so, I believe that Meta through Threads, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook's catching up, as is Google and as is Snap and the other social media apps. But for the most part, ByteDance is like miles and leaps ahead. So the algorithm is what's important here. And so when that law was passed in April 2024, I think it was actually 2024, the law required the TikTok be divested from its owner ByteDance by January 19th, 2025. Now, at that point, Donald Trump, who was not yet president but was on his way, had decided that he likes TikTok because there is a group called Turning Point USA. The founder is Charlie Kirk. He'd used TikTok to activate a lot of young people, especially a lot of young men, who he was able to get to vote. So when Donald Trump realized he's a transactional person, that a lot of the reason why he's president today is because of that activation via TikTok, he decided he's going to try to save TikTok. The law passed, and Donald Trump attempted to intervene and stop it from being blocked. TikTok sued. Supreme Court took up its case. I watched the arguments, and based on the arguments, it looked to me that TikTok was not going to be saved, and that's what happened. The Supreme Court affirmed Congress's decision to ban it, and as of January 19th, it's not supposed to be in the app. However, the law did allow the president, whoever the president at the time, to extend when certain parameters are met. Donald Trump has done that 3 times. The last extension expires this September, I think 15th this year, 2025. Around June or so, Donald Trump had announced that he had found a bunch of wealthy people that were going to purchase the app. And so that was fine. Around that time, I do want to share this video I did where I was going through the potential buyers who I thought was going to be top of the list. And one of the people who I predicted, one of the groups I predicted would be the actual winner in access, it looks like they may be one. That's why I teased this video and I said, if this comes true, that would be my biggest prediction yet. If I predict the group or company that actually ultimately purchases and acquires the divested American version of TikTok. So let's watch that video right here real quick. Thank you for asking. This is how I think it's going to work out. I might be wrong. So what I think is that When TikTok in 2020 was negotiating with the CEO of Walmart and Oracle to sell off 81% of its interest in exchange for whatever, that deal fell through because they had sued Donald Trump saying he didn't have the authority to ban the app, and they won. So when they won, that deal folded because they didn't need it anymore. They needed to divest, right? So now, in the heels of this other potential ban again, I think they reignited, they went back to the table and started negotiating secretly just in case they don't get their way. This is what I think happens. They had other offers, and what they could use with the other offers that came in, they can go back to Oracle and that team and say, hey, these are what these other offers come in. Can you match it? I think that's all been secret backdoor negotiations this entire time. But what happened is ByteDance was holding that to their chest because if they were to just sell and fold right away, they will lose leveraging opportunities. And also they want to get the most amount of money, the bang for their buck as possible. And they would not want to sell it. Now, here's what I think will happen. Part of the deal. This is my theory. I might be wrong. I think two scenarios could happen where they be allowed to stay. They will sell it because in order to sell something, you only need to change in ownership. You just need majority. So they don't necessarily need to sell it for 81%. They don't need to maintain 81% ownership, whatever like that. Or they could sell it for more than that. It doesn't matter. I think they will sell a portion of it, sell it so they lose, the other. So it's 51%, 49% they own it. But as part of a condition of the sale, I think that they will sell like the advertising revenue, the assets, the employees, the buildings in America, wherever it is. They're going to sell all that. I think one portion of what the sale, the algorithm, the connecting to the algorithm, that whatever that is, to go back and forth, they're going to do a 50% ownership. This is one scenario. The 50% ownership, the reason why, because it's a partnership. If you're equal, no one owns anything. It's 50% partnership is owned, so everyone has equal share. So the Chinese government says that that they have a law that says you cannot sell any intellectual property, including the source code, to anybody else without permission from the Chinese Communist government. And they've already said that we're not letting ByteDance sell the source code. So if 50% is not a sale, it's a partnership. So there's nothing in their law, unless they change the law, that says they can't enter a partnership for ownership. Now, that would satisfy the Chinese arm. On the American side, it would also satisfy the American because, again, with the 51%, 49%, the American company's going to own it. They only hit to the divest. They have to sell it. So once they do 51%, it's sold. It meets the American side. And with the American company having ownership, equal partnership, arguably, the American government was concerned that the Chinese government is going to have access to this data, right? They can say there's a firewall available to stop it, whatever, or whatever. The second thing, they said they were concerned about covert content manipulation. If they were going to engage in covert content manipulation, the 50% ownership, the American entity that owns it, arguably would be able to be aware that that was going on, hopefully, ideally. Right? The update since then, just pat myself on the back there. Here's what's new. The new information is the creator that I follow on TikTok and YouTube named Hawk. He's a 25-year veteran trial attorney. He has friends inside that said they've been attending policy meetings. And you probably know TikTok recently released in community guidelines. Key in the community guidelines is shifts to its misinformation, meaning that if it tags something as misinformation, it's going to either suppress the content. It may even block the content. And you continue to post this type of information, you can get removed from the content altogether. Now, I'm going to play for you specifically what he said, but in a nutshell, it says anyone who mentions a specific man who's Jewish, who was recently convicted for certain crimes against young people, including a venue that he had surrounded by water. If you mention that person, or if you mention what they call him and people like him who do what he does, if you mention politics or the elections, you're going to get banned. So what does that leave us? That tells you, he's a pretty credible source. I've followed him for a long time, but I want you to listen from his own lips what he said in the video yesterday.
Are temporary to appease the Trump administration, as TikTok is now under government scrutiny. And allegedly there's a deal coming that TikTok USA is going to be sold to some American interests. He offered me the following guidelines. Do not talk about elections if possible. Don't say the word Epstein. Find another word for his name. Don't accuse anyone of anything. Don't use the word pedophile. Don't discuss any conspiracies or conspiracy theories at all. Do not talk about elections if possible. I think we're going to start seeing some pretty dramatic changes with TikTok.
Now, I think it's very important to note that these new community guidelines go into effect on September 13th, 2025. That's 2 days before the expiration of Donald Trump's last extension. So what Hawk's contact, his source said, kind of like aligns based on TikTok's own release. And I also want you to note right here, what you're looking at is the integrity and authenticity portion, where the civic and election integrity note, it says, we do not allow content that could mislead voters or interfere with elections, including false claims about how to vote, who can vote in the outcome election. What have we seen a lot of times? I know I have people saying that there will be no more free elections and all the various different statements that I always accuse the quote unquote defeatists of saying about the elections. All of that's going to be banned. So if you come onto my page talking about that, you're like risking my page. So I'll be deleting those as well. If my, anyway. And I also want you to notice here, the bottom part, when it says the TikTok they want it to be safe, fun, and creative place for everyone. Something that the folks who monitor community guidelines and social media posts pointed out to me is that it used to say trustworthy. The fact that trustworthy has removed says that it recognizes that it is actually a source for misinformation. And so I think they're removing ownership of that and not claiming trustworthiness, acknowledging that the platform is a conduit for misinformation. So, and there perhaps that says something related to regulations in U.S., other places. I don't know. This is U.S. standards. All right. That's it. Just wanted to know those. Right. So we're in trouble. And this is also on the heels of, I'm pointing here, yesterday or 2 days ago, a few threads, left-leaning content creators shared their screenshots that showed that their content had been suppressed. They were getting millions and millions of views and engagement like just months ago, and that's gone down. And it's all coincides, so it all makes sense, especially if you notice that during the Donald Trump's inauguration, there was this tech row where you had the CEO of Google, of Apple, Meta, and all those guys up there, and Amazon, and the sign signal. I did a video before Donald Trump won the office, warning of the oligarchy. And again, that's something, I hate to be that person who's always like, I told you, but, and he is a fan of Russian President Vladimir Putin, who just ate him for lunch, as Kamala said. She said he's going to eat him, that Putin would eat him for lunch. And if you hear the reports about after Putin left the office, the way Carolyn Levitt, the way that everyone, Donald Trump shocked the before the meeting, the after meeting, it looks like he told them or showed them something to let them know that he still owns them. We call Donald Trump the Putin's puppet. He has been. So you guys really did induct him twice, a Russian asset, because we all warned you before. And I'm a member of the 92 percenters. So if you're not a member of the 92 percenter or the 70 something, whatever, there's black men, even though too many of y'all did vote for him, you can't tell me anything, because members of your group, your mom, your dad, your cousin, your neighbors, you knew they were going to vote, and you didn't do enough to convince them that there was a bad vote. And I'm going to, I hate to blame you guys, but you can't say anything to me, because I see a lot of you guys and people from your demographic popping off on me in various different videos. And I'm like, stop, having time, stay off. Anyway, so that's what he did. So it's all coming together now. Meta reportedly, seemingly suppressing left-leaning content. And we have the Oracle. And here's the other thing. This big thing about Oracle is that the founder of Oracle donated to Donald Trump's 2020 campaign and is well known as to be a Trump ally in the MAGA. So if this person were to actually access, you're looking at Twitter X 2.0. Same thing that Elon did to turned Twitter from a, well, it's relatively great source of information for non-biased views where everybody, it was like the town hall at one point. It turned into a right-wing cesspool by the time Elon Musk was finished with it. And you can see TikTok going around that route, even though in that video that I just showed, Hawk said that his friend said it's a temporary fix just because they want to appease Donald Trump on a temporary basis just to get their merger approved, or the sale approved, if they can guarantee him that they're going to make sure that news about that guy and him and his link to that guy isn't really amplified too much. It's just a slippery slope. It's like, how do you come back from that? And the minute that you go down the route, you jump run people to other platforms, which lead me to my final point on here, is that if you are a content creator or you follow content creators on TikTok, to look for them, and you should be finding spaces like Substack. This is, I'm gonna put my Substack here. Okay, let me wrap this up. What you need to do is have other places. So I have Substack, I'm on Threads, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Blue Sky. So, and try to make your name consistent. If you have a different name on different platforms, if your handle is available on those other platforms, you could change it. My handle was different. I've changed to a pseudonym, why? So that's one thing you can do, because you can't rely on social media. A second thing you need to do is have a space or a hub where you can collect emails and get straight into people's mailboxes. I come from the blogging world, so one of the things that we do in blogging worlds, we have a domain. It's our name that's linked to a website. And one of the things that happens when we lead people to our website, we'll have a pop-up, or we'll have a place where we collect newsletters, where emails, where we send out newsletters. Sometimes we have a pop-up when we offer something, a sale or discount or something, and we collect those emails. And the purpose of that is to create a community, but also so we can communicate directly. I just did my first newsletter. I've been doing this since last September, and over the course of this year, I decided to start creating products to help support my work here. The first product I created was a case tracker, a companion document where I put all the various different lawsuits that are filed against the Trump administration. It has a page that links to all the nonprofits and organizations. I've not been updating that regularly, so instead what I do is I have links to the site that I use. There's 3 sites that I rely on, but one of them, Just Security, is the most reliable one. So rather than me try to recreate the wheel, there's no need for that. That document just has a link to take you to Just Security. We can follow it along yourself. But the companion document does have a guide to maintaining your well-being and your mental health during this time, because that's my vibe. And it has a cabinet pick bingo in the back end, and that bingo is going to be turned to resignation. But I think that compared to last time, people aren't going to resign this quickly, because the folks who was in office with them last time were a little bit more principled, a little bit more institutional, a little bit more reasonable and respectable. The generals, Bill Barr, all of those folks had a little more respect and independence. With the folks you have now, they're all sycophants. They are Pam Bondi. Donald Trump is a Department of Justice lawyer, because he doesn't have a degree and she doesn't care. He says jump and she says how high. She doesn't push back at all. So none of the people push back. The only person that's doing whatever the hell he wants is Pete Hegseth, because he's crazy and he's a drunk and alcoholic. I mean, that's according to him. He said he's an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic. That's not me calling him a drunken alcoholic. But he is, yeah. So I'll leave it at that. But they're all sycophants. They do what they want to do. He does what he wants to do. Everybody else does what he tells them to do. And they just don't question it. And because the last time there had people that pushed back, he had a little bit more, there was a little bit less, there's a little bit more pushback. It wasn't as crazy and chaotic as it is now. The reason why it's chaotic and as it is now is because he doesn't have people who push back against him. Okay, so because he doesn't have the people to push back, it's crazy and chaotic. Now, regard. Okay, so because he had a bunch of sycophants currently, they do whatever, whether it's lawful or not, whether it's authorized or not, they don't care. They just do it, and then it gets pulled back. And because that's how Trump's lived his whole life, is just suing people when he gets mad. And the most glaring example of that is when he sued Michael Cohen for royalties from Michael Cohen's book that he wrote after he came out of prison, just talking about his experience. And Donald Trump felt like he was entitled to some of that. And he started the process, and then there was articles and news articles about him suing. A lot of fuss, but no one followed up to the fact that the day of Donald Trump was supposed to testify, he just decided not to testify. He dismissed his own case. He withdrew his case. And that's just how he does. His litigation strategy is to sue for the headlines, but not really follow through. And that's what's going on. That's why every single thing you see gets pulled back. I did a video, taco video, and in that video I shared about 14 different times that different things that he's done got pulled back, either from public opinion because they just decided to change their mind, or because of a lawsuit and the court caused them to pull back. So it's totally Trump always chicken out is his legal strategy. And so I keep tell people, like, he does a lot of crazy things. And yes, it's disruptive. Yes, it messes up lives. Yes, it causes chaos. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, it causes people's lives to be tampered with and destroyed and uprooted. No doubt. I'm not dismissing that or diminishing that. But the point about it is, if that is true, at the same time that exists and that's true, also true is that it's part of a strategy that anticipates losses. And because it anticipates losses, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be worried and mindful and fearful and upset about the other things that actually does go through his destructive aspect. It's just to let you know that there is an end game, because there are a lot of people who talk about him as if there's no end game, as if when he does these things, it's final. And my job is to say that it's not final. It's just stopped, it's reversed, and it's damaging, but it's reversed and it's stopped. He does it again. It's whack-a-mole, and I don't know when he's going to run out of energy, but he only has 4 years. And if we all do well, all these people complaining, and including if you're not a member of the 92%er, get off my back, because you didn't do your job, because there's someone in your family and your community and your neighbors who voted for Trump, and you didn't do your job to convince them not to. And if you didn't do your job to convince them not to, don't come up to a 92%er. I'm part of a demographic. We all did our job. We all voted for the other person. So don't come to me in my face and my channel popping off saying nothing to me, because you just don't have space. Ask yourself before you do that inner work, and ask yourself, did I do everything I could possibly to secure a win, to stop the people who voted for Trump in my life? No, you didn't. You didn't do that. So you don't have any space to criticize me on my channel, on the comments to my section. But you can if you want to. And if I find you, I'm gonna block you. I'm just kidding. So anyway, so that's the end of the day. So at the end of the day, you do a newsletter. Now, here's the thing. Different ways to do this. You don't have to have technical know-how. Thank God. We're in an era and space of AI. I know some people hate AI. We're in an era and space of gig economy. And my 3 favorite places to go to is Canva, which now has lots of AI. You can get lots of templates on Canva on how to do website templates, lots of them. I'm showing these are some websites I made for other people using Canva. So yeah, and even my website was using Canva. All you need is a domain. I'm going to put a link down to DreamHost, HostGator, and GoGaddy. Those are ones that I use, and I ask you to purchase. If you haven't gotten a domain, purchase it using one of my links. That's the way you can support me for my work here. I appreciate it. Thank you, because it's an affiliate link. Then you get a Canva, and then you find a domain, and you put them together. If you don't know how to do that, don't worry. You go to Fiverr. Fiverr has lots of experts. I trust them. They're from all over the place. It's not going to be expensive. And just say, I need someone to help me connect them. Once you connect them, that's it. You go in Canva, you edit it, and you update if you need to republish it. That's it. It's so simple, so easy. Now, if there are limits to Canva websites, obviously, you can't have a lot of functionality of traditional websites. So if you want more functionality and you want, for example, to have tracking, to have more, like to be able to sell, all those things, you might want a more dynamic ones. You could still go to Fiverr instead of just getting the host. Definitely get the domain, but you can also buy hosting from HostGator or WordPress or DreamHost. And then again, similarly, there'll be templates. Create your template, and then if you want to connect them or add any functionality, back to Fiverr and say, go look at a website that you like, and then tell the person for Fiverr, hey, I like this website. Can you add as much functionality as this person has on their website to mine? And they'll do that for you. So it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. If you want a phone number, because they shouldn't be calling you if you're, if you want people to reach out to you, Google phone's still free. If you want an address, a physical address is not your house, post, scan, UPS store, FedEx, they all have. You can purchase on a monthly basis, $10 a month, and get an address. It's worth it. It's your safety, your peace of mind, to not have people get some little distance. So, and then you can have collect the emails. I use MailChimp and I've used ConvertKit. So I'll put a link down to both of them because I'm affiliate for both. So either one, you can create landing pages like this one here. This is the landing page I have, collecting landing. Tell people, hey, join my newsletter list. You can create a pop-up. You go to my website, it pops up. You can do different things with with a more dynamic website and with MailChimp or with ConvertKit. So I'll put a link down to all of them if you're watching this on YouTube, and click them. They're all affiliate links, and that's a great way to support my work here. And it's a great way for me to thank me for telling you what's coming down the pike and to watch for it. I don't know how it's going to end, but I'll keep track of it normally. And it's related, like I say, it's intersection of technology, what I did before, and this. Anyway, JJ Legal, each one teach one. Share this video with someone you know and love who can benefit from it. Thank you for your support. Go to jjlegal.com for some of my resources, to sign up for my newsletter. And yeah, see you soon. Watch this video next week. Watching this on YouTube.